There we go. We are live. Hello, everybody. So excited to do this live kind of demo and walkthrough of Effortless Payments. If everybody wants to kind of send in where they're live streaming in from, welcome. I'm Zaria. I'm the head of marketing here at Anything. We've got some reps from RevenueCat on the call, and we also have some of our engineers from Anything here too. Get all your questions answered and really dive a little bit deeper into Effortless Payments. I'm going to pass it over to Daniel and Philip to get us kind of introed and kicked off.
Cool. Hello, my name is Daniel.
I'm Philip.
Yeah, and we're engineers here at Anything. And yeah, we're just excited to share what we've been working on. And it's pretty much like a end-to-end way to just get payments, subscriptions, all connected with RevenueCat, App Store Connect. Pretty much get everything to do with managing subscriptions, in-app purchases, in your mobile app, and then into the App Store, all managed for you by the agent and completely effortless. Yeah, and I think Matt and Per2, you guys wanted to maybe talk a bit about the RevenueCat side for a bit.
Yeah, sure. We can do some like brief intros and then give a little bit of context. So yeah, hey everyone, my name's Matt. I look after partnerships at RevenueCat. I won't go into too much detail on what that is because it's boring. But I'm a vibe coder, so I don't come from a technical background, but I have an app actually in review right now with in the App Store. So maybe we'll get into the pains of like app review later on. But yeah, I've used the tool and already used the integration, so kind of excited to be here and yeah, hopefully like share a bit more with others that are going to be doing the same thing. In terms of RevenueCat, like I can give a little bit of a high level overview and Pair2 can build on it as well. But our kind of mission is just to help anybody building apps, whether you're a vibe coder or like a seasoned developer. Our mission is to kind of help you make more money. So when you're building and shipping an app, you can either build all of the infrastructure to integrate with the App Store and the Google Play Store, which is where you're going to be selling and distributing your app. You can build all of that yourself. But it's pretty hard and complex, and Apple and Google change stuff like all the time. Or you can just use RevenueCat, and RevenueCat kind of takes care of all of that complexity. And so we have a little bit of software that then lives in your app and abstracts all that kind of complexity away. And then once you're up and running and you're live on the store and you're trying to acquire subscribers and get them to pay for your app, we have a range of tools that can help you kind of grow more efficiently. And so we can get into some of that kind of later on if it's helpful to folks. But yeah, we're really, really excited that we have this integration and the Effortless Payments is now live, because yeah, it should make the process of kind of adding subscriptions, adding payments to the apps that you're building, which was once a very complicated and painful thing to do, it should make it nice and simple. So yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, Perttu is the name. I'm also from RevenueCat. I'm a developer advocate there. And essentially my job title just means that my job is to help vibe coders make more money. But technically that's also all of our job at RevenueCat, but mine specifically, I would say. But yeah, and I've used your tool as well. I wouldn't call myself a vibe coder. I still kind of hold some pride in saying that I'm a traditional coder / engineer. But I do a lot of vibe coding as well. So excited to see how this takes off. Hopefully, that's like how I see it working out.
Cool. Do we just want to like show like an example, like app, like Leo's app, for example?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you know how to share a screen?
Yes. So let's share a screen.
No, not that one. You just want to share this. Give us 1 second.
Philip's the mobile expert here.
All right, I'm going to share this. Wait.
But how you share?
All right, why don't you just show the
While Daniel and Philip are kind of getting that all set up, we can kind of talk a little bit about the launch that happened yesterday. So yesterday we did launch kind of Effortless Payments, which is our integration with RevenueCat. And so basically the main, game changer here is that with just one prompt, you're able to add payments into your mobile app. So you're able to add that paywall, you're able to get subscribers, and you can do it all, just with one prompt. We had a beta, and basically all you have to do is you set up your Apple developer account and you set up your revenue account. And in our beta, I think it was like 95% of people in one prompt were able to get their payments working seamlessly. And then most people also were able to get into the App Store just with that initial one prompt too. And so, of course, the App Store process goes back and forth, and it's hard sometimes to, get your app in. But basically, Effortless Payments is built so that process is as easy as possible. So not only can you add payments to begin with, but then you also are able to really, really easily get that into the App Store, which is of course the whole point, is you want your app to be able to be downloaded. You want people to be able to use it. You want it in the iOS App Store. And so we've already had 3 apps, I believe, since we launched go through with the integration. And I know that Daniel and Philip are going to talk a little bit more about how you use it in your projects, and then also what these apps look like. But it's super exciting to actually have subscribers and be able to share your app in the App Store pretty easily. And I know as someone that's non-technical, it's huge for me to suddenly have that capability and be able to make money with it with an app online.
I can say that as a technical person, single prompt to App Store is that's crazy. Because I still remember when it used to be days. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's the whole timeline is just shrunk. I think it's a new world when it comes to what's possible to be an internet entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can expand upon that. I actually used RevenueCat years ago, back when dashboard was still old and it wasn't the new one. And it took me a long time to actually set everything up, because it was my first time setting RevenueCat up. It was also my first time hearing about RevenueCat, and I didn't even know if there were better options. But also, now that I know more about RevenueCat, it's definitely the best option right now. Especially because of how far it came. It's very easy, in my eyes at least, as an engineer, to set it up now, and especially easier with how the agent does it now. We were testing it out. Daniel and I were testing it out a few days ago, and it just worked after one prompt. Maybe a little bit lucky because the agent was did so well with it, but also it's possible to do it in one shot. And yeah, I can just show it on my phone real quick. We have some technical difficulties with the mirroring, so we have Leo's app right here. Sorry, it's so scuffed. Yeah. But also, anyways, here we can upgrade to Pro, and if you actually click on it and click on one of the plans and you can continue, it actually brings up the paywall, and that's how you know that it's working. Here, I can try it. Hopefully, it doesn't show any of my personal information when I do this.
What is it?
Renewal.
Oh yeah, you're Pro. Yeah, it's up
and then it says I'm Pro.
You can actually show the tabs.
Yeah, you're Pro. Thanks for subscribing.
Nice.
And then
you can actually show the.
If I give my phone permission, you can see that now all the Pro features are unlocked.
Yeah, you're showing the camera, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that was single prompt, right?
It was Leo, the guy who made the app. He doesn't code at all. Again, he used our product to basically get all that set up using the agent, the builder, and it just all got set up in App Store Connect and RevenueCat. Yeah, completely.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice. But as you said, might have been lucky. I'd say that it wasn't just luck. I think just it's the technology is just so good. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, AI has come a long way. If only it was like that 2 years ago when I was trying to set up RevenueCat and I ran into issues. But things got a lot better both on RevenueCat side and AI. So now we can just do it easily with no technical experience.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah. Do we want to do a little like just like a little building like in the anything builder now? Yeah, I can share. So this one I can actually just share the screen, right? Yeah. 1 second. And then yeah, I think we'll just do this.
There we go.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I mean we'll just like go through the motions and let's just see where we can get.
First, can everyone see the screen? Oh yeah, they can see.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Okay. Let's do this. All right. Let's just say we're gonna build like a. What do we want to build, Philip? Maybe something very basic like a mobile to-do list app. Build a mobile to-do list app with like unlimited to-dos for pro users. $10 a month for the pro subscription. Let's do this.
All right, this part might take a while.
Yeah, it's got to build everything from scratch, but
it's building everything from scratch. But yeah, if you guys have any talking points while we wait for the agent,
that's the most awkward part about these videos. Like in the old days when you wrote code by hand, this was like the cool stuff that you would be like, hey, now I'm gonna do this and this thing. Now it's just like you ask the AI to build it, and they're like, okay, we'll just now wait as it does its magic. So the order of things change, because usually it would be like you do like, I'm gonna do this and this thing, and then stuff doesn't work. Now it's the other way around, like it does everything and stuff just works.
Yeah, you can actually see the agent work the way it's actually already like created the RevenueCat project and linked it to the user's project like, automatically.
So do you already, question from me, do you already have a revenue account connected to your anything account here? Or is
so I had to,
yeah.
So in my project settings, that's right. So I had to kind of like get this all like, you basically just set this up once, and then like from there on the agent, once it has access, it can do all the setup for you from there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see where it got to so far. Wow, it already actually did like all this stuff. Again, RevenueCat already makes this really easy to link, but then this takes it a step further where like now I don't even have to like go into RevenueCat and like enter all the prices. The agent knows how to like create all those subscriptions, prices, products, packages, and
maybe we can jump in here because this is some like RevenueCat language. Oh, here comes the
it's already got something going.
We talk about like packages and products and pricing and subscriptions and test store. So yeah, Petu, maybe you want to give like the rundown of what we mean by all of that and kind of what's like happening in the background here on the RevenueCat side.
Yeah. So there's actually a lot of things happening. See, what's working behind the scenes is the RevenueCat MCP. So that's the basically the agent layer to our APIs to call these things. And in RevenueCat, usually when you're setting up subscriptions or in-app purchases in general, you need to set up like few things. First is the actual products. So that could be, for example, a consumable in-app purchase, or it could be a subscription. And there could be, for example, a weekly subscription product and a monthly subscription product and so on. Those you set up in RevenueCat. In this case, AI just builds all of those for you. And those products then need to be connected to like their matching products in App Store Connect and Play Store Console, depending on which one you're targeting. So App Store Connect you use with iOS and Apple, and Play Store Console with Google and Android apps, basically. And what the MCP actually does, it does it for App Store Connect. So it sets up also the products in App Store Connect as well as in RevenueCat. So it does both of those things. And did it already build your paywall? But paywall is then the place where you show the different options of purchasing products. And after which you purchase something, that will unlock something we call the entitlement. So entitlement is just our way of like communicating that what the user is entitled to in terms of features. So if you wanted to put like a pro level, that would be called the pro entitlement that then is like given to you once you make a purchase on any of the products.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like it actually set up the mobile app now. So this is very, very basic. Right now, it looks like it's set up the test store to start, just so that we can try it on the. What's going on here? Let's see if we get this map.
Yeah, and I can just briefly introduce the test store. So test store is our answer to basically the side of like monetizing your app, that when you're doing like testing, you're building the first version of your app, because setting up those products, setting up an App Store Connect account in order to release apps for Apple devices, that takes a lot of time. And if you want to just like test out an idea, build a proof of concept of your mobile app and just test the subscriptions, how they would work in that case, you can use the RevenueCat test store. So that then allows you to make test purchases, test if like what would happen if a purchase fails or if it succeeds, and modify your UI to basically like match those different states that you could end up when purchasing products. And after that, when you're done with your app to a state that you're like, hey, I could actually release to, for example, beta testing in test flight, you can then move on from test store very easily to the actual App Store Connect parts and Google Play console parts.
Yeah. So we actually wanted to ask you guys a question about that. Now that we have these vibe coders, right, that don't have much technical experience, we were wondering, how has that changed RevenueCat's use cases overall?
I'd say that they stayed mostly the same. What has changed is like the velocity, the speed at which you like are able to deliver app that conveys like an actual app, so to say. Like test store is one part of it, of course. Like that's for you when you're doing like locally, you're testing it out. You don't want to get like pulled over to the side to start working on configuration and App Store Connect and whatnot. You want to build the app, you want to get it to a state where like, hey, actually this now has the features that I want it to have. And I wanted to work it so that if a user subscribes, they get access to these features. That used to take like days before. Even when we started having like AI assisted tooling, the in-app purchases was still the part people were thinking that, okay, that's going to take a few days or maybe a week, possibly even longer if I'm going to submit it to Apple and they're going to review and possibly reject it and whatnot. Those things are kind of in the past now. Like still, like Apple's review process hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. It's still very slow at times, but the speed at which you can get to that stage that you can just submit the app for Apple to review, for example, has significantly shortened. I don't know. Do you, Matt, have something to add to that?
No, I'd say the use case is the same. Like for us, like we still want to help as many apps to make money, and that's what the product does. But it's the way, I guess, the accessibility and the so take me as an example. There's no way I could have integrated the RevenueCat SDK into an app I was building like by myself. I can't code, but I was able to use a tool like yours to like build the app and then add the RevenueCat SDK, use the test store as Pertu's describing to be able to like test everything out. I think the other note to make there is that you don't, at that point, you don't need an Apple developer account. You don't need to have paid the $99 or gone through that process of registering. It allows you to do all of that and just in test, mode effectively. So use case is the same. It just lowers the barrier to get to that point where you have an app, you have a paywall, you have subscriptions and in-app purchases that you've tested and set up. And then if you want to then go and push it to the App Store, you can go from there. And it's it's a lot easier than it was previously.
Yeah. Well, actually, now that you're showing the dashboard, that's something that has changed maybe a bit. So this is something you used to basically live in during the setup process of RevenueCat. So you would go back and forth between the products, setting the entitlements and whatnot. Now you can just ask an agent to set up all of this for you. And you can, of course, jump into the dashboard and make modifications to it. But you could also just ask the AI to do that instead. So that is one part that has changed. Doesn't mean that we're not going to be putting a lot of emphasis also on the dashboard still, because it has a lot of things that are necessarily not that easy to do through AI. So, for example, we have charts and A/B testing that you can also configure through this dashboard. So it becomes like this command center for you these days, instead of being also the place where you do all of the setup. You can still do it, but at this point, AI is your friend in getting the stage like way faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually got a question from the audience. It's a question from Nathan. He asks, wait, so this integration set up with payments and App Store Connect as well? And the answer is yes, Nathan. So right now we just set up the test store in RevenueCat. That's for development testing in the Anything Builder and on the Anything mobile app. But shortly after, we're going to just show RevenueCat here, what we're sharing. We're going to show that we can prompt it one more time, and it's going to set up all the products for you in App Store Connect all in one go. And everything is just going to work, and it's going to be great.
And
yeah.
I would like to add, this is what I mentioned about sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes you have to ask one more prompt, because after all, it is AI. Right now, it doesn't seem to have made the app in App Store Connect, although it's successfully connected to RevenueCat. That's just kind of how things happen with AI. But eventually, as AI models get better, as we get a better understanding of how we can, use AI to set everything up better in one shot, it should be more common for everything to be set up properly in one shot. It's just, sometimes, we give it the same context every single time, right? You could give it the same exact prompt every single time, but every single time the response will be slightly different, especially given the context and how big the context is. So for example, right now, right, seems to have not set up an App Store Connect yet, but when we tested it a few days ago, we were so confident because everything was set up in one shot. But sometimes this just happens. It's the reality of how things work, especially with AI. So I think, Daniel, if you want to try and
yeah. I mean, one thing I wanted to show too, just to show you kind of, so again, so this time it decided what it would do is it would just set up the test store first, just to kind of pass it back to the user and be like, hey, check this out in your builder first, kind of make sure what's going on. I just want to show that this is actually literally the project created by the agent in RevenueCat. And so you can see everything was created today, February 4th, literally during this demo, right? 10 minutes ago. So they already created a RevenueCat offering for us, and it created the Pro monthly product that we asked it to do. You can see the price is should say $10 somewhere. I might be getting lost in RevenueCat, but you already gave it a Pro entitlement so that you can kind of gate behind it, and it created you can see it has the product here, and where's the package actually? Well, sorry, I guess this is the package right here. It's kind of it's just not really saying it. But yeah, so again, this was all done one shot by the agent, and I can actually show you that literally. So the preview on the website wasn't loading for some reason, but actually I was able to download the app that we just built, so it's actually working here, and so I'm signed in. I can actually press upgrade to Pro, right? And then this little subscription modal comes up, right? I press upgrade now. This is a test store, so we just have to kind of pretend, right? But it's test valid purchase. And give it a second, and it says success. So now I'm Pro. So this is all working in development just fine. It says you are now Pro user. Awesome. I press awesome, and I just continue on with my day.
Yeah, and if you guys flick to the overview on the left-hand side on the dashboard, and then toggle the sandbox on, you'll be able to see that.
Oh, nice.
You'll be able to see that transaction. So if you go straight to the top overview, yeah. And then you see that you've got you can see one new customer.
See the $10 Pro subscription. So this is exactly what we asked in the first prompt. We said charge Pro users $10 a month, and yeah, you're right that we can now actually see those transactions went through, and so you can see that everything here is working just fine. All literally in 1 or 2 prompts.
One thing I would like to mention, 2 things actually. One is you don't need to make the app in either RevenueCat or App Store Connect. Our agent does that for you. So this app right here in RevenueCat, we did not have set up already. It just kind of made the app. And also the same thing would happen with App Store Connect, if it worked on this one shot. But so yeah, just keep that in mind. You don't need to have anything set up. It'll do it for you as long as you have RevenueCat and App Store Connect accounts connected. And also the other thing is, you saw the test purchase on Daniel's phone. That is because it is in development. There's a difference between development and production in terms of how the mobile app works. And the difference is one would be just by scanning the QR code, and the other one would be in test flight. So once you submit it to test flight in our builder, then you should be able to see the real purchase, the real purchase. Well, what I mean by real purchase is the double tap to purchase thingy. But don't be alarmed, if you don't see that when you see the QR code. It's only going to show up in test flight, and also, of course, if it's in the App Store.
Nice. Yeah, we can even, I think we can even try to do the next step now. So like at this point, right, it's like, yeah, like users like, great, this works great in development, right? And we can just say, okay, cool. This works in the test store. Let's get the App Store set up like with App Store Connect. And then we just go. And then we just kind of send it. So yes, to re-answer Nathan's question, yes, this is all going to get set up for you in App Store Connect. And we're going to show that my App Store Connect account, and you're going to see all the products is going to be set up there as well, all by the agent.
There was actually, I saw a question that someone was asking, how do I know if everything is set up properly or correctly? You can actually just ask the AI that are the products set up in App Store Connect and Desk Store and whatnot. Like
yes.
You get, like, we also return those, so you can just verify that, okay, everything looks good, and then like when you're debugging your app, you're like, okay, that should be correct. So maybe something is wrong on the app side. Ask the AI to fix it from the app side itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we even have a little button here when we're about to publish the test flight. We have a like App Store review tool, and like this will also basically show you. It'll both check App Store App Store compliance, all of like the legal rules, like whatever. It will also check like, oh, are your products actually set up correctly in App Store Connect? Are they in sync with RevenueCat? And then there'll be a button that'll come up too. That'll say ask to fix, and then just pastes all that text and tells the agent to go fix it for you. So you don't have to do anything really. This will obviously have a whole bunch of compliance issues because we literally just like, we didn't do anything about privacy policy, support email. It's gonna tell us all these things, and it'll probably even say that like, the App Store Connect setup is not complete yet. Yeah, like we haven't even created the app yet in App Store Connect. So it's just gonna come playing. But you can press this button and tell them to fix it. But we'll just let the agent work away on this.
And while that's happening, I don't know if you guys saw me, but I was getting questions from the chat. We do not have, we can't see the chat right now, so Zari has been helping us out with the questions. Someone asked, who is ideal customer for this product? Literally anyone who wants to make money. I think there is, either there is no such thing as an ideal customer for this product, or everyone is an ideal customer for this product because everyone wants to make money, pretty much. Unless you don't want to, charge your users for anything, which could be valid. But I think a lot of people, who write code to make their own app need some way to, keep the app running, and that's through subscriptions or in-app purchases. And I could be an ideal customer as well, because I used to use RevenueCat like 2 years ago by myself without any agents, without AI. So I could be an ideal customer for this product. You could be an ideal customer for the product. And by you, I mean anyone watching or anyone in general. So yeah, I don't think there is, a specific set of people that are considered ideal. It's just anyone who wants to make money, I guess, is the ideal customer.
Yeah. I would tag on to that just to give everyone a bit of context. Like with RevenueCat, we serve a huge number of apps today. I think we work with about 70,000 apps that are already kind of out there. That ranges from like OpenAI all the way down to me that's vibe coded an app. So you get access to the same like infrastructure that like the biggest companies that use RevenueCat do, and it works in exactly the same way. The other thing to call out as well is there's no charge to get going with RevenueCat. It's free to create an account, to get going. It's only once you are generating over kind of like $2,500 a month that any of our like pricing kicks in. So we tend to get that question a lot from vibe coders, but just to make it clear, if anything, if you use this tool to provision a RevenueCat account, to connect it, to set up the test store, get going, you're not going to get charged anything from our side. So you can do all of this without having to pay RevenueCat anything. We only make money when you start making money. So just to clear that one up.
Yeah, and like I want to emphasize that we take 1% of all the money you make after 2,500. So when you start getting bills from us, you're at that point making a decent amount of money already.
Nice.
All right. Well, is the agent still
going? It was just telling me the agent. So in this case, the agent did a bunch of stuff, and then it also said, oh, like make sure to reconnect your account because I think you like want to refresh the credentials. So doing that real quick.
All right. While you figure that out, I'll go through some more questions. Apparently, there's a lot of questions going on. Sorry, I haven't been catching up to them. I can't. I don't think I can see the chat. So, anyways, so Eliza asks, are you able to integrate RevenueCat directly into the product, or does it take you to a separate landing page? As you can see from our demo, you don't need to go to a separate landing page. The only thing that would take you to a separate landing page for RevenueCat is when you're signing in through our builder. But that's just to authorize your account, make sure that, whatever's redirecting to RevenueCat, RevenueCat should trust. But other than that, no, you don't really need to even open RevenueCat's dashboard in the building process. Of course, you want to look and make sure everything's being built properly. As a human, you can't trust the AI too much. So yeah, but other than that, you don't need to worry about setting anything up, particularly in RevenueCat. The agent takes care of that for you. Genevieve asks, what is an example of an app that would be good to create with RevenueCat? So my experience is anything, well, really anything, but in particular, my use case was I was making a fitness app. And to make a fitness app, I wanted to also include video upload. And with video upload, with all these exercises that people, upload, you need to store the data. And to store the data, it costs money. So having an app costs money. Having the app even in the App Store costs money because you have to be a developer account. So in that case, you don't want to lose money just to have your app up. And that's where you give, people special features, extra access to stuff. Like, for example, for me, you could upload more videos. You could upload higher quality videos, for example. And because that costs slightly more money to store in your database, you charge a little bit extra to have that feature enabled for certain people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can actually see it. The agent is actually working away in App Store Connect now. And I could actually see it created the app in App Store Connect. It created the subscription group, the subscriptions. Looks like it created localization prices. It's just like working like this. I can actually show that tab now. So this is on the other side of Revenue. We have App Store Connect. So this is literally the app it created in App Store Connect for us. And we can actually see the subscription. So you can see it created that Pro subscription called Monthly Pro. It set up the localization for us. It set up Monthly Pro. And it even set the pricing, I think. Yeah, it even set the pricing correctly. See, so it's literally $9.99. It matches exactly what we wanted in RevenueCat. And I think it's literally just going to keep going. And it should just get this all matched up with the App Store app on RevenueCat's side. So you can see while I was talking, it actually kept working while I was talking.
Yeah.
Check mobile in-app sync status. So this tool is literally the agent's checking, oh, does RevenueCat and does App Store Connect match? And it just keeps working until all of this is set up correctly.
One thing I want to add to that, if you go back to App Store Connect still, you saw that it said missing metadata on this subscription there, missing metadata. That means that that can sometimes cause problems when testing the in-app purchases. What it requires in this case, if you scroll all the way down, is Apple wants a screenshot of your paywall or wherever your subscription basically shows up. So you just need to take a screenshot of your app, come back here, put the file there, and after that, it will start to say ready for submission. So if you ever run into any problems with the subscription not showing up or the products not showing up, just go back to App Store Connect, add the screenshots, and it should be there.
Yeah. In fact, our agent could actually be able to set that up for us. In fact, it actually knew. It actually knew the missing metadata is because the screenshot is missing. So it can actually guide you. You don't even have to remember this live stream. It'll tell you what you need to do. Yeah. And I think
that's excellent.
It should even be able to upload the screenshot for you if we paste it. Well, it's saying you can do it directly, but it's also saying it says you can do it directly, kind of what you were just saying, or you can actually paste into chat and it'll upload it for you. It looks like everything is actually set up besides the screenshot. So we can even share the RevenueCat tab again and go back to the products. And I think if we look now, so you can see now, before we only had the test store, and the agent automatically set up the monthly pro product in the App Store app on RevenueCat side, and it's still complaining about the missing metadata. That's literally just because of the screenshot, but you can see it has the pro entitlement. It's part of the same main offering, so everything here looks like it's going correctly. Yeah, I mean, I think we don't need to actually. We can do the screenshot. We can even try publishing to TestFlight, but we may not actually be able to see in TestFlight before the end of this live stream, because it takes some time for Apple whatever to we can just show kind of demo that flow as well.
Yeah. So while this is happening, apparently there's almost 500 people watching. If you have questions, please send them through. We'll try to answer everything. We have the engineers of the builder. We have the engineers of RevenueCat. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. I can actually keep going. There's a lot of questions already.
Hey, I could add to the one question that you had, what kind of apps this is good for? Because there's actually also a requirement why you kind of need to use RevenueCat or similar. So if you're going to distribute your app through Apple or Google, so in Play Store or App Store, and you have any kind of digital purchases, that means it has to go through the payment processes of Apple and Google. So in which case they will also take a small commission on it. But you can, for example, use Stripe to handle that. So if you're purchasing anything digital, you have to use Apple's and Google's payments protocols for that. And RevenueCat makes that possible for you. So our SDK wraps those things and brings a lot of stuff on top of it to make it easier. So if we make it very easy for you to monetize in-app purchases and subscriptions in a mobile context. If you were building a web app, then you could consider something like Stripe for handling that. We also have a product for that. So basically saying that it's not even just what the apps we're good for, it's also that you kind of need us for the mobile app specifically if you're going to do any kind of monetary transactions. This doesn't apply to if you were to, for example, sell physical goods. For that, you can use different things. But if it's anything digital, it kind of has to go through the official in-app purchase API, using those official APIs.
Nice. Yeah, I think we're just. We're just gonna kind of show how you can submit to the App Store now.
While he shows this, there are more questions. Actually.
Oh yeah. Sure, go ahead.
Ahmad asks, how long did it take previously for you to implement RevenueCat manually? Oh man, it was 2 years ago. So it's hard to remember, but I do remember spending a lot of time on this because I wanted money. So I probably took about a week to set it up, and then another week because I set it up incorrectly. So maybe 2 weeks. At this point, I wasn't too familiar with just building mobile apps in general. I was still learning along the way, and especially if you don't really know exactly what's going on, it gets kind of confusing. Why? If you think about it from a non-engineering perspective, you just want 2 subscriptions maybe and then 1 in-app purchase. Why can't you just configure those and be done with it? There's a lot of setup that needs to happen with App Store Connect, and also with the amount of customizability you can have with RevenueCat. For example, I know we have offerings that you can set. You can change the offerings, whenever, and then updates in the app. And I didn't, at the time, all I really wanted was just 2 subscriptions and an in-app purchase. That's all I wanted. But because there were so many, aspects of customizability to RevenueCat, the way it's set up is actually very organized. It just it has a little bit of a learning curve, because you don't know from right off the bat, you need to set up products, you need to set up entitlements, you have to put these into packages and set them up as offerings. It just kind of gets confusing at first, but once you finally get to set it up, you see how everything works, you see why everything works the way it does. And I guess the 2 weeks wasn't a waste of time for me, because I eventually, figured out how to use RevenueCat properly. And eventually, also, when you set it up for 2 weeks, after you get it working, it's a huge sigh of relief because you spent 2 weeks to set it up, and then it works. It's a great feeling. But yeah, it took me a while, but it shouldn't take you a while to set up in the builder, and that's why we want to integrate RevenueCat into the builder, because I know people want to make money, just like me.
Nice. Yeah, I think we're just gonna finish this publish flow real quick, and then I'll also show the screenshot uploading actually, because again, the agent should be able to do that for you. No more questions? I think this one you already answered, Philip. Okay, let me just validate this real quick.
Yes.
And it's just gonna go. Enter this code. Yep, and then I just send it to my own App Store submission.
This publish modal is also a huge work in progress. We understand how frustrating it can be, and it's also frustrating for me to see so many issues with this because Dylan, who so kindly helps mediate everything between us and the customers, we know how frustrating this publish modal could be. We are working on it. More specifically, I am working on it. I understand there's a lot of issues that you guys can't see because it's related to either how we set everything up or how App Store Connect doesn't provide the best debugging messages. But it's definitely a work in progress because I think this is the most important part of building a mobile app. You need to be able to send it to TestFlight and then have it on the App Store, and this is the only way to do it. So
yeah, I'll just open another tab because I think it also takes a little bit of time to build everything. So I'm just gonna try again. The agent said, we can upload a screenshot. So this is literally, I put in the chat, this is literally the screenshot of that demo I was showing you. So if you see here, this is that paywall I had earlier. I just screenshotted it and I'm just pasting this in the chat, and I asked the agent, can you upload this for me? And let's just see, can it do it?
All right, while I was doing that, there's one more question.
Oh, nice.
Genevieve asks, how long does it take to add this into your app that you have built? I don't know if you're asking in the builder or if you did this manually, hypothetically. I can answer both. In the builder, it should take one prompt, ideally. But of course, the AI can mess up. It should be able to do it in one prompt because the AI would know, the agent would know to set up, a screen, first of all. If you specified, what plans you want or what, in-app purchases you want, hopefully you specify that in a prompt. It should be able to take care of that as well. It should be able to set everything up ideally. And then if it doesn't, if you test it out and it doesn't completely work, you specify what's not working. It should be able to take care of everything without you having to ever touch the technical side. And then if you ever do have to touch the technical side, then you could either go back a few versions, start over from before it had the subscription setup, or you could honestly reach out to support. We're always here to help. But most of the times it will work. It will set up everything properly. Just know that, it might take a bit of time because not only does it have to set up the paywall, it has to set up the screens. It also has to set up, RevenueCat, App Store Connect. It's a lot of things that the agent has to do, but it should be able to do it given, you provided enough context, such as, oh, I want this to cost this much, and it should be shown like this or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then if you do it manually, it would take a while. It would take a little bit of time if you're not technical. If you're technical, if you're familiar with RevenueCat, maybe it will take you half a day. But making sure everything's set up properly is probably the most important part. You don't want to do something that App Store Connect would deny. You don't want to do anything that would mess up, how you planned all your subscriptions and all that. So if you did it manually, it might take a bit of time to make sure that everything is set up properly. But that's why we have the agent.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at what I'm sharing, so again, earlier I said upload the screenshot because of the missing metadata. And I can actually see that it did work. So I can now switch to App Store Connect. And so we were just talking about earlier that, oh, it'll say missing metadata because the subscription is missing the screenshot. I can see the screenshot is successfully uploaded by the agent. And I can see, does it still say missing metadata? Well, this must be something else because the agent actually said screenshot uploaded successfully. So let me go back to this. So everything is configured and it says, oh, okay. So it's because the app overall, like we haven't set up like the app screenshots and the app's pricing and the app's availability itself. But actually the agent can do all of this for us as well, actually. We could even keep going, actually. So I could even say, okay, let's get the app itself set up by making the app free to download, available in the US only. You should be able to set up this part as well. So yeah, basically this part is just talking about again, this is like, should your app itself cost like $5 or should it be free? And then there's all kind of this metadata information that would just appear on like the main page. I think it would be app accessibility. No, sorry. It would be here, pricing. And so it's all of these things, pricing and availability about literally your app itself. Yeah, but it can just keep going pretty much. Cool.
All right, while that's generating more questions. This is actually a question to everyone in this call, including RevenueCat people and anything people. How are people most successful after they get into the App Store? They do all the steps, they get into the App Store. What can they do after that to continue to be successful and optimize?
This one? How are people most all the steps they get into the...
I can answer that unless Matt, you want to take it?
No, go on. I have some thoughts as well, but yeah, I can jump in after you.
All right, okay. So you'll just that. So the thing is, like when you get your app out, the first version, it's based on hunches. Like you have a hunch that this might work for different, like for your users, your target user, target customer, for example. And hopefully someone tested out and you've made it very easy to give feedback, because if you have, they will get back to you and say that, hey, this is nice, but actually I need this and this and this and this thing. So then it comes up to you to take all that feedback that you get, prioritize, and focus on the things that you know will actually like make those possible users turn into customers. So paying customers, so to say. But that's just like the features part of the app, or the functionality part of the app. Then there's of course like what should you have like as a price for subscription, if you have like a monthly subscription, or should you have like a yearly subscription or a lifetime subscription? Those are all kind of things that you can't directly ask your customers. You kind of have to go then with that, hey, here's the price, and see which one works. And RevenueCat actually has a feature for that. We call it experiments. What it allows you to do is that you can set up, for example, 2 different kind of pricing structures. That, okay, we're going to offer customers a choice between a monthly subscription and a yearly subscription. And then there's another, like you can divide that. Let's give this to the 50% of the users, and for the other half of the users, let's give them a different kind of a level where they can, for example, subscribe to a weekly subscription if you want to test that out. Or maybe you can have a slightly different price that is like slightly lower or something like that. And you can test it out, which one works better, which one retains users for longer time. So for example, if your subscription price just ends up being like way too high, they might test out the app and then churn, stop subscribing after a month. And you know that, okay, now I have to test out a different kind of a pricing model, different kind of a price. Those are all kinds of things that we make really easy with RevenueCat. You don't have to make new app releases. If you're using our paywalls, you can just immediately roll those pricing changes out without making a new release, without having to like ask an AI to up those. You can do those through the dashboard very easily, and then get like charts that show you that, hey, this pricing structure worked really well here, didn't work that as well here, and then you can make educated guesses on where you should take your pricing strategy, essentially.
Yeah, I think So I agree with all of that. I think in the very early days, like the key is like feedback. If you're like me and you're vibe coding an app because you think you have a good idea, like it's a great idea for you, but it doesn't mean it's a great idea for everybody else that you eventually want to turn into users and want to pay. So whenever I'm talking to people about this, I say, like, go and find out where the community of people that are going to be using your app hang out. Like, is it on Reddit? Is it on Facebook? Is it somewhere else? Get them to use your app, get them to give you feedback. Definitely don't release an app with a $50 monthly subscription straight off the bat, because, you know, you need to show people, like, demonstrate some value before you start doing that. And in fact, to begin with, like, the pricing is almost arbitrary. Like, you know, have an amount that isn't going to turn people off. And then what Pair 2 is talking about, you can dial it in as you go on. There's lots and lots of advice out there on like how to grow your app and growth tactics you can employ. Tons of material that you can look at depending on what vertical you're building for. There's something called ASO that's worth looking at. So it's kind of like the SEO version, but for the App Store. So when you're thinking about how you name your app, the subtitle you give it, the description you provide within the App Store, that's all things that you can look at just from like a foundational point of view to make sure that users can discover your app in the first instance. But my big recommendation would be feedback to begin with, and then when it comes to monetization, you can start thinking about the tactics and the pricing and everything else. You know, once you've kind of built an app that you know is going to be valuable to users.
I'll add on one thing. I agree. I'll triple down on the feedback. There's also one thing that I kind of believe in because it's pretty psychological. Make subscriptions look worth it. And by what I mean by that is make the app look slightly different for people who subscribe. I think there's an idea of like status psychologically, at least for me. You know, when you buy something and it looks very premium, it looks very shiny, you know, you're like proud of it. I think if you want people to be, you know, if you want people to subscribe to your app, well, first of all, have a good pricing, have good features, but also you want to make the experience feel better for the user. I mean, after all, they are, you know, helping you support your app, even if it's because they want the features and whatnot. But making sure that your users enjoy having the app only in its, you know, premium state could optimize your users, could optimize your revenue. That's just my take on it, my personal take on it. Maybe not for everyone, but I think just from what I've seen, at least from me, from my friends, from people that I know that have, you know, premium versions of certain apps, it's going to be a huge benefit if you decide to, like, you know, make it look prettier, make it look nicer, have a good feel to the app.
Let me just show one last thing about the agent before we go back to the question. So kind of saying earlier, yeah, again, like, there was some missing app metadata, and I literally just asked it, let's get this app metadata set up, make it free. It basically set this all up, and I can actually show that in the App Store Connect app, it set the pricing and the current price, it literally set it to $0, which is what we wanted across all countries, and it made it available in the country I said to make it available. So it did it for United States, available on app release, and then not available anywhere else. So the agent is very aware of the entire setup flow across RevenueCat, App Store Connect, and you pretty much should not need to even leave the anything builder at any point. It should tell you exactly what you need to do next, what is not working. I can see here that after it set up the app's pricing and availability, that it pushed back a little. But these things that it's talking about are things that, like, it kind of needs the user to do it, like things like your contact info, like setting up the description of the app. It doesn't really have your contact info. So there's going to be some parts you need to do yourself. But pretty much like anything that would have been just like kind of mundane manual work for a human, agent can just do that for you. So long as you tell it nicely what you want it to do, like make the app free, make pro subscriptions $10 a month. It's just going to go ahead and do it all for you.
All right. So we have 2 more questions, and then we can wrap it up. So the penultimate question, was it difficult to get the Anything agent to learn how to do this correctly?
It took some work. We didn't have to do anything like fancy with like model fine tuning of like LLMs, reinforcement learning. Like pretty much it was just like, you know, fiddling around with like the current state of the art LLM models. And I think really just instructing it kind of how to like connect these things together really well. I mean, I mean, RevenueCat already does a really good job at just making this easier, but I think just giving it an extra nudge of hints like, oh, like, giving it some like documentation tools and like system prompting around like this is how App Store Connect works, because mainly on their side, on Apple's side, their stuff is a little opaque at times, and it required some like detective work to kind of figure out the bits and pieces here. We basically did all that footwork for the user, updated our system prompts, and then when we kind of tell the agent about these things in the system prompting, it does way better, and you can kind of see it was able to do everything. So long as we do that groundwork first for the user can kind of just go, and it doesn't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So yeah, I would say it was interesting, but I wouldn't say it was like maybe like rocket science or anything like that.
All right, 2 more questions. Actually, I lied. Why RevenueCat as your partner? So I was not the decision maker to use RevenueCat, but I was a big supporter of integrating RevenueCat because I had used it before and because I know this is probably the best way to do things. And also because it's native. Like you can use it within the app. It's what every app uses to, have subscriptions. You see the double tap to purchase thing. It's just honestly the best way to implement and integrate income, subscriptions, in-app purchases into your app. So I was a huge supporter of this. Me personally, it was the only one I really knew that worked. So I was pretty excited because I already, knew about RevenueCat. I had experience using RevenueCat. It was exciting for me. What about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of took like some of these parts like over the finish line, but I was not involved in the RevenueCat from the start. So
He's not a mobile dev.
for me, like RevenueCat is all there is in my world.
All right, and then
Just keep it that way.
and then the very last question by Zobai.
It's for the RevenueCat team.
Yes. Why is it called RevenueCat and not Profit Dog?
I don't know. That's a great question. It's I don't know, maybe one I can't even answer. I think maybe because Datadog was already a thing, so it was too similar to that. Funny story about the cat thing though. So our VP of growth, Rick, he runs all of our kind of marketing and sales and success and stuff. He's actually allergic to cats. So even though we take the cat theme like very seriously and all of our swag is cat related, the sight of a cat puts a deep fear into him. So yeah, thankfully it's like not a requirement of working at RevenueCat that you love cats themselves.
Do you guys have an office, and do you guys allow cats?
We don't have an office. No, we're fully remote. Yeah, so no, we don't have to. We don't have that. But we just have lots of cat themed swag.
That's a good idea. If you guys decide to open up an office, I would love to do that.
I don't think we will. I at least hope that we never open an office, to be honest, because I prefer the fact that I don't have to go to an office. But also I've heard the story why it was a cat. But I mainly remember it being that because cat was available. So I'm not sure if that's the correct answer. And also,
it's like any company, the domain was available. That was it.
Exactly. And I think for Profit Dog, that would be very slightly problematic because we can guarantee that you can make revenue, but we can't guarantee that you make profit.
Fair play, Valid.
All right, great. Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you, RevenueCat team, Pertu, Matt, and I think we have 500 people on the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. This has been super fun. This has been awesome. Hopefully, you learned something today. And yeah, I mean, I think we're just about out of time. Wow, 700 people. Okay, thank you, all 700 viewers, for attending. Yeah, I think that's all we have time for. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.